is nothing more exciting than seeing your main character receive their first major power-up. Whether it be controlling a new technique or even a transformation entirely, the level of anticipation for the future only grows from that moment, and in this week's episode for Mission Yozakura Family, Taiyo finally joins that list. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and what was born in this episode is something that will bloom for the rest of the series. Chapter coverage-wise, we had the rest of chapter 47 as well as all of chapters 48 and 49 to complete this episode. Alongside some good changes and great moments, the major debut in this episode is of course our Core 2 opening by Fripside titled Secret Operation. Without going into spoilers, this opening surpassed my expectations in the visuals department. A monumental upgrade from Core 1's visuals, and I was actually a bit surprised by one major thing in the opening that we are slowly crawling up on, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Overall, a very good song and presentation, which clearly shows that we'll be heading into more action-heavy territory looking into the future content as well as Season 2. If this opening is an indicator for how things may look in the future as far as the environment goes, then as long as the action can be elevated, we may have a great future in store for us. Pulling into the episode itself, the situation coming off last week was looking pretty dire. Kyoichiro ended up going to confront dear old dad as Yama makes his way inside the mansion to capture Mutsumi, also removing the power keeping Taiyo's medical equipment online, pretty much making this a situation on three fronts. We bounce back and forth between them all until the dust finally settles, but getting there manages to take us through quite the ride this week. I'm gonna start first with Kyoichiro and his encounter with his father. It's clear that in his absence, Kyoichiro has had to grow up a lot, and as such would naturally lead to conflict when dad suddenly decides to show himself again. It begs the question of why even be gone in the first place. What could he possibly gain by working with Kawashita, let alone when it's putting his children in the line of danger? We still need answers, and that's going to be one of the plot points that keeps us engaged, but for now, we arrive at the fact that this entire situation that started from the hotel was orchestrated by him. The injury, the invasion, backing Mutsumi into a corner. His rebuttal was that it was all to make Taiyo stronger and protect Mutsumi. You could call it twisted love, but even so, this is a bit extreme to get the point across, and even if Kyoichiro has his one-sided beef with Taiyo, he will protect his family at all costs. We get to see a glimpse of just how powerful he is when he lets loose with a wide attack being Calm Storm, but it has no effect. Granted, he ended up getting the ring back from his father, but being able to catch Kyoichiro's technique mid-function shows that the dad is far from a pushover as well. This is why they say respect your parents, and just off of first impressions when looking at future combat, I'm sure anime-onlys are now more than aware of the multiple threats for this family. Again, we still have a lot of questions that need answers, but with that being said, the eldest of the house is gonna have to step it up if he truly seeks to protect his family. As for the main event, when talking about how exactly could Taiyo get stronger in such a dire situation, the answer lies at the same goal of our antagonist, and that's within the Yozakura's blood. With no working medical equipment or connection to the outside, the only thing Mutsumi could do was inject Taiyo with the Somenine and let it work its magic. It's a pretty wild gamble, but as her mother said in the flashback, if she's willing to accept someone else's suffering too, then that is who she should be using this power for. In the nick of time, and for the moment all the manga readers have been waiting on, Taiyo wakes up, and this time with a glowing eye. A cherry blossom right in the eye's iris, and with quite a few buffs too. Now in my opinion, the manga still managed to be better. The close-up shot was great, but the moment itself of Taiyo waking up, grabbing Mutsumi, as well as stopping Yama was not exactly that up to par. They also removed the knife Yama was stabbed with in the anime for some reason. I want to imagine that it may get fixed in the Blu-ray, but it is quite odd. However, pushing into chapter 48's territory, the fight itself was pretty solid going into the anime. You can see how the series starts to enter more battle shonen territory with how much physical strength Taiyo now possesses and was getting some pretty heavy blows in. If you thought Taiyo was pretty cool before, it's only going to get better for him as he masters this newfound Zen, but knowing how dangerous the Yozakura blood is, we naturally arrive at a little bit of consequences. Once again, we must remember that Taiyo is a normal person just like a lot of the other criminals outside are, and as such, he would naturally have a reaction to the injected blood as well. The sensitivity that comes with awakening the body cells is like a giant shock all hitting at once, hence why you either die trying to master it or you conquer conquer it. It's a hell that won't be able to be conquered in one episode, and kinda reminds you of Deku's full cowling. In order to make it through this ordeal though, Mutsumi follows up on her mother's words and meets Taiyo halfway to help calm his body down, admitting that if this doesn't work, she's ready to die with him in the moment, taking out her firearm, though clearly scared to shoot it. Now, the anime excelled here with actually depicting what was going on inside. Whereas the manga is depicting a sort of misty substance clearing up, the anime goes into a full-on cellular showcase to show his body slowly winding down just enough for him to get back on his feet. I really enjoyed seeing this taken advantage of here creatively, and whoever thought it was a good idea definitely needs to stick around. The final stretch is pretty much that do or die sequence in which Taiyo gets a hero moment to deliver a blow so powerful that Yama couldn't even regenerate. Goes to show that a fake could never compete with the real deal, bringing the fight to a close. This is but a taste of how Taiyo will evolve with his skills in the future, and it won't be much longer till we see him move into a more permanent style of fighting regarding his weapon of choice. For now, we're just happy that the couple lived to see another day, and at last, the siblings are finally able to get in contact with each other. The final portion of the episode is the rest of the family taking out the trash. They manage to bait all the enemies into a trap, and Futaba, being the powerhouse that she is, sends all 1,000 plus enemies flying. With the house crisis averted and leader down, it was only a matter of time before the rest were handled by the minute. A sweeping victory for the house, with Taiyo now at the point of truly no return. Being injected with this blood is only going to allow him the means in order to push forward toward the truth, and with this episode, waves the flag for the story to go into full throttle. Of course, it isn't a Yozakura episode without a little bit of comedy, as that sensitivity issue manages to resurface, and the only way to calm Taiyo down is through Mutsumi's angelic singing. Emphasis on angelic. Unfortunately, the extra commentary was cut out regarding the reactions to her music, but you all get the point. Overall, a very important episode when it comes to the narrative of this story. Both new questions and new developments occurred this week, wrapping up chapter 49. Judging by next week's preview, it seems we'll be going back to finish up some more family content with Nanao, and given the opening surprise, there's no better time than now. With that brings me to the end of this week's review. As always, thanks for watching, and make sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be safe out there until next Sunday for episode 17.